Oh, let's see if we have anybody up this morning. I haven't run yet, and I'm not sure if I'm going out because it's so cold out there. I don't know if I want to go out there in all this cold weather. So I thought I'd do this because I got something that I think you should know about that just happened last night. And this change, particularly about the stimulus package. I mean, nobody knows what the hell's going on that. And you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans in the Senate and you have the White House that's leaving town. They don't think they are, but or at least some of them don't think they are. But most of Washington believes they'll be gone. And so they're trying to do something. Everybody's trying to do something. Yeah. But last night, there's something that came up, man, out of nowhere. Because what they've been doing is negotiating. There was a bipartisan commission on Capitol Hill. That means Republicans and Democrats are working something out together. And they had a pretty good package for like $900 billion that they thought they could get by. And then last night, Munchkin, I'm sorry, I don't know his real name. But last night, they said, Munchkin went to talk to Nancy and everybody else, and they offered another package of $960 billion in stimulus. Now, listen to this package. And this has a good possibility, and they may, everything is changed, but it looks like they want to get something soon, like in the next week or so. I think this week, next week, they want to get something done that will be a temporary thing. Let me read you this New York Times article. Because in the middle of the night, I roll over and I look, what the hell's the news? And I saw this. Wow. So this just happened late yesterday. And it starts jump-starting negotiations with days to spare. The White House on Tuesday offered Democrats $916 billion pandemic stimulus proposal that would meet their demand to provide some relief to state and local governments and include liability protections to businesses that have been a top priority of the Republicans. So the Democrats have wanted to give money to the state and local governments because they're out of cash trying to deal with the pandemic. And the Republicans want to protect people from being sued for giving the virus to people who come into their business. Okay. The offer from the Secretary of Treasury to Pelosi was the first time since November's election that the Trump administration has engaged directly in talks on Capitol Hill and how to prop up the nation's flagging economy. It came as lawmakers raced to reach a deal on another round of coronavirus relief before they conclude this year's session, now expected to happen next week. So they hope to leave Washington the end of next week. And they were working on a bill. And this guy comes in and says, hey, stop the presses. Look at this. The plan does not include a revival of the 300 weekly enhanced unemployment benefits. Okay, you hear that? So the White House plan will not give you, now there's an extra $300 a week that's in there. After the $600 pass, so they're not going to, that's not in there apparently. Though it would extend other federal unemployment programs to set to expire this coming week. Don't know what that is, but there's other federal unemployment programs that were set to expire, and that will not be affected. Instead, it would include another smaller round of direct payments to Americans. And that direct payment is going to be $600 a person. So instead of the $1,200, what they're saying they want to give $600 to everybody. The original $2 trillion stimulus enacted in March distributed $1,200 in checks and established an enhanced unemployment of $600 a week, which the president later extended to $300 a week for most workers. The proposal put forward by the secretary would not address the lapse benefit and would have a one-time payment. Okay, so there's a lot of questions in there. The president's proposal must not be allowed to obstruct bipartisan congressional talks that are underway, says Pelosi and Schumer. They said in a statement, calling the cuts to unemployment insurance benefits from the proposed $180 billion to $40 billion unacceptable. So in the current proposal that they're negotiating, there's $180 billion worth of unemployment benefits. Then The proposal from the White House cuts that to 40. The proposal emerged as a partisan group of moderate lawmakers was meeting virtually to work towards an agreement on the details for the $908 billion compromise plan. It was unclear how the secretary's proposal would affect discussions on this package, which Democrat leaders on Tuesday said are the best hope for a bipartisan solution. So the Democrats saying that what they're negotiating with the Republicans is the best bet for coming up with something. The White House said, no, look at this. We got a shiny object over here. Pay attention. The administration proposal also includes funds for vaccine distribution and a revival of the PPP. Looks like everybody wants to go PPP. The bathroom's right over there, actually, if you have to. So let me know. It's a very good offer, says Kevin McCarthy, Republican California, the minority leader, who, along with Senator Mitch McConnell, the turtle guy, was briefed on the plan and said it focuses on the things that need to be met. Earlier Tuesday, that's yesterday, before this happened last night, McConnell signaled openness to a deal, floating the possibility of removing both the liability provision and funding for state and local governments. He argued that dropping both parties' top priorities could smooth the way for a narrow deal on funding for vaccines, schools, and small businesses. So McConnell is saying their bipartisan commission were doing pretty good, because they eliminated the most important thing that both wanted. One wanted to eliminate any liability problems that people would have, businesses would have. That's on the Republican side. And the Democrats wanted money for the local governments. Okay. We know the new administration is going to be asking for another package. That's what McConnell said on Tuesday. And actually, this is interesting, offering an implicit acknowledgement. So McConnell saying that we know the new administration is going to going to be asking for another package. Okay, new administration. I thought they didn't believe there's going to be a new administration. So McConnell let the cat out of the bag there. What I recommend is we set aside the liability and set aside the state and local and pass things that we agree on, knowing full well we'll be back at this after the first of the year. So what they're saying, no matter what the hell they pass now, they're going to do something more in the first of the year. The idea amounted to the first significant concessions in months from McConnell, who had previously called the legal protections a red line in the stimulus talk. So everybody's red line in the sand seems to disappear when a big gust of wind comes in, right? And they all got that. And that's it. But the Democrats scoffed at it after months of insisting that any stimulus agreement included funds to bolster state and local governments that have lost hundreds of billions of dollars from the pandemic and are facing devastating budget cuts. So what's going to happen? The states are in debt up their keisters, okay, because of dealing with the pandemic. Now, they have to have a balanced budget. They can't print money like the federal government. So they're going to be laying off a lot of people, if they don't get money. So that's teachers, firemen, I guess, all that kind of stuff. He's sabotaging good faith bipartisan negotiations because his bipartisan ideological effort is not getting a good reception, says Schumer. In her own statement, Pelosi declared that Leader McConnell's efforts to undermine good faith bipartisan negotiations are appalling. So what they're saying is that, McConnell, the Republican, is saying, well, let's put aside the things we really want and negotiate. What the Democrats say, that's because you're losing what you really want anyway. Who knows? Schumer and the Democrat proposals are funding state and local governments had broad bipartisan support, unlike McConnell's liability proposal. The measure would provide 5 years of legal protection for coronavirus-related lawsuits from businesses, schools, hospitals, and nonprofit organizations that make reasonable efforts to comply with government standards. Now, I guess there's something in there, I would think, how do you, you can't protect everybody from everything. So what are you going to do there? Okay. But many Democrats have rejected this Senator Bernie Sanders' Vermont independent who decried a get out of jail free card to companies that put the lives of our workers and customers at risk. Sure. On the other side, people get sloppy, and we can't make people sloppy and hurt workers. Okay. The bipartisan group of lawmakers is discussing liability protections in the in its outline of 908 billion compromise as well how to allocate 160 billion currently set aside for state and local governments. But after unveiling an outline this month, the group has not yet completed text. So they're still trying to work it out. But it looks like this one, the other one, I don't think even has a stimulus check in it. This one has a $600. So bim, bam, out of the box, that comes. Okay. I don't know. It doesn't, it has some unemployment extension, but not the $600 or $300, it sounds like. Leaders of both parties have agreed that for some form of relief needs to be approved by Congress to parts by the end of the year. Hear that? Leaders of both parties have agreed that some form of relief needs to be approved before Congress departs by the end of the year. When does Congress depart by the end of the year? I said depart, not fart. When does Commerce depart by the end of the year? The end of next week. That's what it looks like. And to work towards attaching it to a catch-all government spending package. So instead of starting a new piece of legislation, they said, hey, they have to see, we don't have a budget. We're into a new year in the budget. It starts like November 1st. Yeah. And they haven't agreed on a budget yet. So what they have to do before they leave town next week, agree on a budget for this year. Which has started 2 months ago, yeah, or a month and a half ago. And so what they say, hey, we'll slap this on, get out some money for a little bit, yeah, and then come back and fight another war, with the new administration. Leaders of both parties have agreed that some form of relief, okay, yeah. Lawmakers and aides are still working to resolve the number of outstanding issues in the dozen must-pass bills that keep the government fully funded. That's what I mean. The government has to shut down if they don't agree on funding. They have to agree on paying the bills. Or the government. Remember, we had a government shutdown a couple of years ago. We go through this little song and dance. These people can't get their act together and do a budget. Okay, both chambers are expected to approve a 1-week stopgap bill in the coming days to avert a government shutdown on Friday and buy additional time for negotiation. See, the government has to shut down this Friday. This is Wednesday. Okay, in 3 days, the government has to shut down if they don't agree on extending it for a week. Yeah. Wow. The experts at work here. Okay. So that's where it's in. So it looks like, okay, they're going to extend it, the elected officials can't go home and face their constituents if they don't keep the government open. 2, it looks like closer something's going to happen before the end of the year. Probably not a big stimulus package of the $1,200 and all that kind of stuff. Probably a mini one. And then they'll fight another day when Biden comes back. And it looks like no matter what happens, they're going to have small business money. And how much, and right now they're talking about, at least the White House, a $600 check. The other one, I think, has unemployment money and not a check in there. So as the worm turns, keep tuned. Okay. And also remember, you have now state and local governments. I'm going to put how to find your information from your state. The state is giving out, I just did a video last night, about Washington, D.C. is giving out $1,200 stimulus checks that's going to end on the 15th. Orlando's giving $12,000 stimulus checks that ends on the 12th. So they have to give out, they have lots of money at the state and local government, and it has to be given out by the end of this year. So find your local elected official or anybody to find out what's going on locally. Call your elected officials, bitch and moan to them. I will also show you the 7 organizations locally that help you with financial problems. I'll show you how to find them. I'll put if you're a member, I'll send the information for your state. If you're not a member, I will show you in the description, in the description, I'll put something in there that shows you how, it's a step-by-step thing on how to find the local stimulus package money that's left by the end of the year. Okay, so that's available for you there to get that. Now let's see. There was something else on the tip of my nose, tongue, or or whatever. Well, it's all screwed up. Going to be screwed up more. Yeah. So buckle in and see what happens and try. That's the thing. Just try. What the hell you got to lose? You got nothing better to do. What? Sit along and watch Netflix. See, and if you try, man, you're going to learn to use the system. So when you learn to use the system, if it doesn't work now, you'll be back again because this is what's happening. There's going to be more stuff after the first of the year, because we are so messed up, and we have to get the whole country back and stuff. You have to learn how to use these things that are only available from government and nonprofit organizations, until the greedy people or actually, this is what commerce is about, trying to find out how to make a buck. So they'll find a way, to maybe do it better, but charge you. But until that happens, you can get it free. Well, you have to know where to get it free. And that's what I try to show you, okay? Because all of us don't have money. I think about half the country has money. The other half has not too much.